LIVENODING. In this episode, I want to share just this basic setup. Basically, some kind of a container, and you can call it like a tube or pod. It's currently shaped like a pyramid, but you can actually just change it into any kind of different shapes that you want. So I can turn it into maybe something that's more like a cylinder. So it's very basic setup. So it could be like a cylinder. So the monkey head is stay there. So that's something that we want to be we want to display. And yeah, the setup with this one is super simple. I'm basically just using a cone, and it's looking at the bounding box, and then I scale the bounding box, and the bounding box become like a cutter. The cutter for the inside. Yeah, I think this is as simple as it can be. I can shift the cutter up and down, and we have our tube. So yeah, mesh boolean is doing its job, and I set the material for the top and the bottom, and then sometimes you want to do some kind of offset, you can do it this way. So this is one setup. Another way to create something like this is I give a different alternative, is to just make like a kind of like a top and a bottom. It's a bit like a kind of like a house or like a mushroom. So you have like the top part and the bottom part. This setup is it feels slightly more advanced, but it's actually more or less the same. So we have Suzanne inside this tube or pod, and yeah, I just have the roof control and the depth. There's also control on the base, and we can control the height. One thing that I should have probably made better is probably at the moment the top and the bottom is the bottom part especially is actually just going inside the tube itself. So that could be made a little bit better, but more or less the setup is the same. And I have something funky, however, with the material where I can randomize the seed. So I think it's kind of nice. So let's do a quick breakdown. We have this render currently with I activated the GI as well, so it's looking a little bit nicer. So fast GI turn on. As the actual geometry node setup itself, okay, I started with just a curve line, actually this curve line and a circle, and I can have the top and the bottom. If I actually disconnect some part, okay, yeah, this is how I started with just a simple extruded circle. I can have fill on the top and the bottom or nothing, and I can actually add solidify. With solidify, it's becoming like a kind of like a glass where you display some kind of 3D hologram. If we actually have like a computer that looks like a cylinder, that's actually quite brilliant. I've seen one somewhere in the city, but anyway, yeah, we have the base, and I can control the base, the height, the radius, top and bottom, and I can just turn this into 4-sided, for example, or 8-sided. So a lot of control. And then we have the roof part, which is basically again another cone. Actually, I'm using cone instead of cylinder. I'm using the latest 3.1 where we actually have control over the top, side and bottom, just in case if you wanna delete it, we have control there. As for the randomization here, I'm using the point random. I'm using random value that's passed as an output, And then with the shader, if I take a look at the shader, I have this setup. These attributes that I pass outside, I call it blah. And then I simply use this value and randomize the hue for each points of the geometry. Okay, that's pretty much what it is. There's a lot of things that you can customize inside this. I think with the cone, see, you can actually have multiple segments. So it's almost like a mushroom. Anyway, this is just like a simple basic setup. It's a tube or like a pod where you have like you can have control over the top and the bottom, and that's pretty much what it is. Everything else is just randomizations on the radius or like the segment. Let me check. I think I have something, for example, yeah, I can make it more like a cylindrical. I can control the shade smooth, so it's more like a tube. This one I can have segment of 4. I can make it more like a pyramid. And then all the shaders, I think it's a good idea if we have one object with all the materials, so that we can always go back to shader and then make a quick changes. For example, the glass material, I can change the color. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, if the object doesn't have the material, you find it hard to select the material. So select this and then select this one the last, and then Command L, link the material. So each object now have quick control to the material, so you can make quick changes. My material looks a little bit garish, but yeah, it can be adjusted anyway. It's something you can work on. The color, let's totally get rid of the color, and now you have some kind of display, maybe like a 3D holographic LED computer. I was originally just want to make like some kind of tube, you know, like a capsule with a base and its middle part and the top part. So that's basically what it is. Alright, so hopefully you'll find this useful. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.